Welcome to Fan-Fueled Fiction. Got a great video for you today, a viewer-requested topic. Alfredo McLaughlin1185 left a comment on one of my videos asking, "Hey, how about a video explaining Stormtrooper armor? And was there any point in time in which it was useful for anything? It doesn't seem to stop any kind of weapon in the Star Wars universe." So I decided to look into it. The iconic white armor of the Imperial Stormtroopers of the Galactic Empire was really more form over function. It was a plastoid composite over a black bodysuit, and was notably weaker than the reinforced pure plastoid armor used by the clone troopers of the Grand Army of the Republic. Clone Captain CT-7567, Rex, had a very low opinion of the Stormtrooper armor, especially in comparison to the armor he and his clone brothers wore during the Clone Wars.
"I would never be on their side or wear their junk armor. This garbage is nothing like clone armor."
The armor was made of 18 overlapping plates with synthetic leather boots, which allowed for mobility with mild energy dispersion. Low-power blaster bolts, such as from a holdout pistol or glancing shots, could be endured, but higher-power blaster shots would simply punch right through. The perfect example of this is Han Solo's DL-44 heavy pistol. It was a high-power weapon, and thus strong enough to penetrate the armor. The armor had a few additional bits: a special knee plate on the left knee to make kneeling more comfortable for long-term sniping positions. It had limited protection against the vacuum of space, and a filter to protect against airborne toxins. The helmet had a built-in comlink, and the visor polarized against the glare of firing a blaster to reduce eye strain. It had a heads-up display to aid in targeting and to display power levels and environmental readings, and could also display information on military subjects and civilians. The display also included a motion sensor to help detect any targets the wearer might have missed. The helmet also had an audio recorder to ensure no non-essential conversations were happening while the wearer was on duty. Despite all of these inclusions, wearers consistently reported that vision was limited while wearing the helmet, so much so that it directly led to the iconic head bump in A New Hope.
Take over.
This was almost certainly a contributing factor in the Stormtroopers' general lack of accuracy. The armor also included a utility belt containing a holster for the standard E11 blaster rifle, a small toolkit, a med kit, and so on. Some Stormtroopers had personal comlinks and grappling hooks, and a single thermal detonator grenade was given to each Stormtrooper. Different ranks had different colored right pauldrons. For example, commanders had gold and snipers wore blue. There were, of course, different versions of the armor for different terrain, such as the armor of the snow troopers seen on Hoth, which had a heavier body sleeve to keep the wearer warm in cold environments, fewer solid plates, and, most notably, a modified helmet designed to keep heat in. Swamp troopers were seen in the Legends game Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast and had green armor to blend in with swampy conditions, as well as a more sophisticated body glove to keep out biological hazards that may exist on marshy worlds. They had a specialized rebreather that allowed the trooper to breathe underwater for a short time. The armor also contained a flotation package for emergencies and a multi-spectrum viewfinder to scan through the humid haze in swampy environments, such as on Yavin 4. Magma troopers worked on the volcanic world of Mustafar. Their armor had a single black pauldron and more powerful respirators to protect them from the gases and smoke of the lava. There were, of course, other types of Stormtroopers, and if there's enough interest, I can make an entire video on the different types of Stormtroopers. The reason the armor was so weak is because it was intended for mass production, much more so than the armor of the clone troopers, and it needed to be uniform so that all Stormtroopers looked identical, which served as an intimidation tool. If each Stormtrooper's armor was unique, taking one out would feel like killing an individual, rather than a single tiny piece of a giant wall of foes. This is also why Stormtroopers were forbidden from customizing or decorating their armor in the way that clone troopers did. The idea was to instill a feeling of endless forces, intimidating the galaxy into thinking that the Stormtroopers were infinite, and thus the Empire was impossible to overcome. A single Stormtrooper's life didn't matter, just the illusion of uniformity and endless reserves. Because of this, the mass-produced weaker armor was able to be overcome by powerful blaster bolts, lightsabers, and even primitive melee weapons like the spears and arrows of the Ewoks on Endor, who targeted the gaps in the armor, as well as Boba Fett's gaffy stick, which was able to shatter the material. The armor was really only intended to be cheap and intimidating. Everything else was secondary. Thanks for watching, and thank you Alfredo McLaughlin1185 for requesting this video. If you liked the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. It takes 2 seconds for you and really helps the channel out. See you in the next one.